Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. It's the early 1940s and the world is engulfed in the most devastating conflict in human history, World War II. The Axis powers seem unstoppable, sweeping across Europe, North Africa, and Asia. The Allies are fighting tooth and nail to hold their ground, but they are losing momentum until one man steps forward to change the tide. This narrative is proudly brought to you by Polly Speaks For You. At Polly Speaks For You, we are committed to empowering individuals, especially those with disabilities or learning challenges, through innovative text-to-speech and voice recognition technology. Polly Speaks For You is more than just software. It's a tool for self-expression, connecting people with the world in meaningful ways. By blending the richness of history with cutting-edge technology, Polly Speaks For You demonstrates that every voice, whether preserving the past or shaping the future, has the potential to inspire. While we strive to make the story engaging, our primary focus is on storytelling itself. The visuals are secondary. We're showcasing the remarkable capabilities of text-to-speech software that bring these stories to life. That man is Field Marshal Bernard Law Montgomery. Known to many simply as Monty, he was a man of contradictions, fiercely disciplined, yet deeply charismatic, humble in appearance, yet incredibly confident in his abilities. He wasn't just a military commander, he was a legend in the making. Born on November 17, 1887, in the bustling city of London, Montgomery's early life was shaped by a strict, almost austere upbringing. His father was a deeply religious Anglican bishop, and young Bernard grew up in an environment that demanded discipline, obedience, and a sense of duty. Little did anyone know that this upbringing would forge the character of a man destined to lead Britain's forces through some of the darkest days of the 20th century. But Montgomery wasn't always the picture of a perfect officer. As a young man, he was rebellious, even trouble-prone. His mischievous nature and unwillingness to conform earned him a somewhat difficult reputation during his early military career. However, when World War I broke out in 1914, everything changed. Thrown into the hellish trenches of Europe, Montgomery quickly proved his worth. In the early stages of the war, while leading his men in Belgium, he was severely wounded, shot through the chest. Most soldiers wouldn't have survived such an injury, but Monty was different. He recovered stronger and more determined than ever, eventually returning to the front lines. This was the first of many brushes with death that Montgomery would face during his career, but each one seemed to only harden his resolve. Fast forward to World War II. By this point, Montgomery had risen through the ranks and was known as a highly skilled, if somewhat unconventional, commander. In 1942, the British Army was in a dire situation in North Africa. The brilliant and formidable German field Marshal Erwin Rommel, nicknamed the Desert Fox, was running circles around the British forces. Rommel's Afrika Korps seemed unbeatable, but that was all about to change. In August 1942, Montgomery took command of the British Eighth Army in Egypt, a force that was demoralized, disorganized, and on the verge of collapse. Many believed the situation was hopeless, but Monty didn't see defeat. He saw opportunity. Montgomery was not a man who rushed into battle blindly. He was a meticulous planner, a chess master who understood that victory came not just from brute strength, but from patience, preparation, and precision. His first task was to rebuild his army's morale. He knew that soldiers who believed in their leader and their cause could accomplish the impossible. So he made it his mission to instill confidence in his men, spending time with them, getting to know their names, and making it clear that he believed in them. His calm but commanding presence was exactly what the Eighth Army needed. His ultimate test would come at the Battle of El Alamein, a critical moment in the North African campaign. The stakes could not have been higher. If Rommel broke through, Egypt, and with it, the Suez Canal, would fall into Axis hands, cutting off vital Allied supply routes. But Montgomery had a plan, and it was a bold one. Rather than rushing into a head-on clash with Rommel, Montgomery waited. He built up his forces, strengthened his supply lines, and prepared meticulously. He knew that Rommel, while brilliant, was stretched thin, and he planned to use that to his advantage. On October 23, 1942, the Second Battle of El Alamein began. The desert exploded with the roar of artillery, the thunder of tanks, and the relentless march of soldiers. For 12 days, the two sides clashed in one of the fiercest battles of the war. Montgomery's strategy was not just to engage Rommel, but to wear him down, force him to overextend, and then crush him. And it worked. Rommel's forces began to crumble under the relentless pressure. On November 4th, Rommel withdrew, and the Allies claimed a decisive victory. It was a turning point, not just in North Africa, but in the entire war. El Alamein wasn't just a military success, it was a psychological one. It proved that the Allies could win, that they could stand up to the Axis powers and emerge victorious. And at the heart of it all was Montgomery. After North Africa, Montgomery's star only continued to rise. He led the Allied invasion of Sicily in 1943, where once again his methodical approach helped secure victory. But his most famous contribution came a year later, in 1944, when he played a key role in planning and executing Operation Overlord, the D-Day landings. D-Day, June 6, 1944, the largest seaborne invasion in history. Montgomery commanded all ground forces during the invasion, and his leadership was instrumental in ensuring the success of the operation. It wasn't easy. The Normandy landings were a brutal, bloody affair. But by the end of it, the Allies had secured a foothold in Europe and began the long march toward liberating France and defeating Nazi Germany. But Montgomery wasn't without his controversies. In 1944, he devised Operation Market Garden, an ambitious plan to capture key bridges in the Netherlands and pave the way for a direct assault on Germany. However, the operation didn't go as planned. Poor weather, tough German resistance, and logistical challenges led to heavy Allied losses. The operation was ultimately deemed a bridge too far, and Montgomery faced criticism for the failure. Despite this setback, Monty pressed on. By 1945, his forces were at the forefront of the Allied push into Germany. And on May 4, 1945, Montgomery accepted the unconditional surrender of German forces in northern Germany, Denmark, and the Netherlands. The war in Europe was effectively over. Montgomery's legacy as one of Britain's greatest military commanders is secure. His disciplined, strategic mind, his ability to inspire loyalty among his troops, and his determination to win at all costs made him a central figure in the Allied victory. His career was not without controversy, but there is no denying his impact on the course of World War II. If you're enjoying this story, please remember to hit like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue creating content that educates and empowers. To learn more about South Africa's leading accessibility software and to support our dyslexic-friendly initiative, visit www.polispeaksforyou.co.za. Drop a comment if you want more information. Thank you for watching this video.